Welcome to another episode of the OfferMojo Show, where we talk about crafting, scaling, marketing, and selling aligned and profitable offers. Today, we are diving into how paid workshops can be the simplest, most scalable way to sell more of your existing offers and even test brand new ones without all the pressure. Whether you're launching something new or want to make your core offer easier to sell, we will cover how to use paid workshops to create momentum, attract ready to buy clients, and build trust fast without needing a massive audience or a complicated funnel. Today's guest is AnnMarie Rose, and I met AnnMarie. We actually were in the Ask the Expert Anything summit this summer, and we met one another there. And I saw that her specialty was in paid workshops, and I'm like, oh, I have to have her on my podcast. So let me do a formal introduction. AnnMarie Rose is a business strategist who helps seasoned coaches and experts scale in a way that's both profitable and life-proof, meaning their business actually supports their real life, not the other way around. With over a decade of experience across business strategy, marketing, sales, and scalable offer design, she's helped clients generate millions in revenue while multiplying the white space in their schedule. Her favorite high impact, light lift sales strategy, paid workshops. They're one of the most effective and underestimated ways to sell more of your existing offers, test new ideas, and create consistent momentum without needing a huge audience or getting stuck in launch fatigue. I love that because I have been a launch manager before, and I have been behind the scenes of so many complicated and long launches. And let me just say, they're exhausting.
Oh,
They're so exhausting that I literally just stopped offering launch management.
yeah.
I was just like, oh my gosh, like this is just too much work. It's too complicated. It's
Huh?
too long. So I'm like really like super excited to dive into just a more simple way
Yeah.
of scaling a business, running a business. Like you said, doing something that creates white space and not like stress and overwhelm.
Mm-hmm.
So why don't I guess what I'm really curious about is like how did you like discover or just like fall into like paid workshops as kind of like your most popular strategy for selling offers?
Well, 2020, I did the whole long launch, multiple day challenges, run a bunch of ads up front, usually needing to hire additional support to help you during that time. I mean, you said it right there alone. You were offering launch management as a service, like to run those 7, 9, 11-day launches, which by the way, for those to be successful anymore, usually you're talking about a 90-day launch lead up. Just to
100%.
have people warm enough to actually buy for the launch. So if you're doing those twice a year, we're doing the math here, that's really like 8 months out of the year that you are in full on high capacity, usually extra team output. And you're banking on those last, yes, some sales are probably trickling in the first few days of launch, depending, but you're really banking on like the last 3 days of a more than 90-day window to do a significant amount of revenue. That's a lot of risk up front. And so I was running into that in 2020 where, I was spending 5 figures on advertising and hiring on additional support to help me with those heavier lift launches. And I ran, I think, like we could call it 2.5. I did one that was a little lighter lift, but then 2 that were really, really full on. And it was exhausting. And I was basically, because I was selling a product at the time that was, or my offer at the time was, I was selling something that was about $500 course, essentially.
Okay.
I was basically breaking even. And it was just, I mean, the intention was to bring people in who would be a fit for my bigger offer, but still the runway for that was long as well.
Sure.
So on the front end, I'm still, breaking even. It was exhausting. It was a lot. And I found that the caliber of client that I was looking to call in really wasn't someone who was super willing to commit like 5 days to tune in to a live stream or 7 days to participate in all these things. Like they're busy, they're seasoned. They just want something that's going to help address the challenges, like a top of mind challenge they're experiencing now. And then if there's a deeper way, you can call them into transformation. Great. But usually they've got too much going on to like think about that bigger picture transformation.
Right.
Unless you kind of hold them captive.
Exactly.
I knew that I sort of made a pivot in trying to get known for the topic that I was hosting launches around, which was lead magnet quizzes. And that's something, I still use those in my business, but it was something that it didn't light me up all the time to talk about constantly.
Okay.
And so in 2021, I didn't really have another good lead-in topic that I was super excited to share, but I knew that, I wanted a simpler way to sell. And what I was offering was essentially like a mastermind / group consulting type of an offer.
Okay.
And that's what I was most excited to sell, but it was incredibly transformative. It was at the time a 9-month program. Now it's 12. It definitely evolved over the years. It's 5 figures investment.
Right.
So I knew that it wasn't going to be super likely that someone was just going to see an Instagram post and buy it.
Not at all.
No.
Especially today.
No, that's not happening, right?
Right.
So I hosted a paid workshop in August of 2021. I think we had about 30 people on that don't quote me on the price point, but I think it was $97.
Okay.
That I hosted the workshop for. Might have been 40. It was somewhere between 50 and 100.
Right.
We had about 30 people on that workshop and ended up doing sales. I have to remember exactly how many enrollments. I want to say it was like 9 enrollments. So almost a third of the people into a 5-figure 9-month-long commitment.
Wow.
From one workshop.
Wow.
And majority.
How long was the workshop? Like a 2-hour? Like how long?
This one was long. So this one was about 4 hours, like a half-day ordeal.
Okay.
But I have since, especially since having kids and just the way my life is structured now, and for most of my clients, I typically just stick to 2-hour workshops now. There's still a time and a place for those really more intensive style workshops, but and I did partner with someone to help me promote that workshop. So I wasn't promoting to like it was partially my audience, partially her audience. So it wasn't like I wasn't promoting this to really 100% cold people, but the people coming from her audience were cold to me. So
true. That's true.
Yeah. So, but it certainly helped to get them in the room for 4 hours, the fact that they knew her. So, and since then I've hosted well over 15, probably coming up on 20 paid workshops, majority of them at this point being more around that 2-hour mark. I've sold everything from the lowest ticket thing I've personally sold through a workshop, paid workshop, is an $1,800 program that teaches paid workshops. I also have another program that's $1,800 that teaches how to craft a scalable offer. So I've sold those in the back end of workshops. The highest ticket thing that I've sold on the back end of a paid workshop was $48,000 one-to-one consulting.
Wow.
Yeah.
And you've sold like a $48,000 consulting offer.
Yes.
From a paid workshop.
Yes. And that person was completely cold to me when they came on to the workshop. And I will say that wasn't the offer I pitched. So this is the cool thing about paid workshops, because you get someone in the room, they spend some time with you, they get a quick win. They realize like, oh, this person really knows what they're doing. I need more of them in my world. And so, and you're just you. So I'm very like, I don't gatekeep. I'm very like, in my workshops, this is how I like to function. This is for me personally. I'm like, I don't care if you come off mute and ask me a question. This can be a bit of a dialogue. Like, yes, we're going to learn and we're going to do, and we're going to get things done. But if you want to, show up as you are, be supported, all of that. So that sets the tone then for those conversations that can happen after the fact, where someone could say, I love what you do. I think the offer that you shared was cool, but here's what I feel like I'm really needing. Do you offer anything like that? And then I can say, yeah, let's definitely chat. And then was able to say, okay, here's what we could do together based on your
Oh,
needs.
okay. So guess let's talk about like the strategy behind, because for me, like when I'm crafting offers or crafting even strategies around offer suites and even like the whole offer ecosystem, it's really important, I think, for the paid workshop or the lead magnet, or to me, and maybe you disagree or agree, like to me, a paid workshop is a low ticket
Yes,
lead magnet.
1000%.
So,
That's exactly how I think of it.
yes.
And I certainly do have people who've leveraged my framework to create workshops that they want to be more of like a bigger part of their offer ecosystem, or even I've had people go through my program Sell and Scale with workshops and say, this has transformed the way that I teach in my memberships or whatever, which is, in terms of structuring the content itself, which
Sure.
is fantastic. But in terms of the sales system that I'm teaching people to turn it into, if that's their goal, we are treating it as a lead magnet. It's a paid lead
Yes.
magnet.
Right. Okay. And so obviously that paid lead magnet or paid workshop needs to tie directly into the offer that you are promoting in that workshop.
Yep.
Correct?
Yes. Yeah. It can't be like too wildly out of left field. The way that I like to explain this is we really want the workshop, and this is especially important if you are a coach, someone who provides really deep, profound transformation for people. So my bread and butter is helping business owners to scale past $500,000, and do so in a way that supports the season of life that they're in and where they want their life to go. So with that work, we're addressing their offer suite, their message and positioning, their sales and marketing systems, their operations team and mindset.
Right.
So that is big and powerful and transformational. We're working together for a year. Many of my clients stay on for longer than a year. That's a big leap.
Yes.
It's
Yeah.
not a quick
There's
win.
there's a lot involved.
It is a
And
buildup of a lot of micro quick wins. And then there's some wins that are like, the quarter after quarter we're just chipping away at. So to bring someone in by teaching them my impact framework that I work with those clients through, it's not going to help them they might get some clarity on what they need to go through, but they're not going to get necessarily a quick win around it. So what do I know though about that person who is ready for that bigger, deeper transformation? They are stretched really thin, but they still want to make more sales. So they're either spending a lot of time on sales calls, spending a lot of time in the DMs, posting a ton, wondering like, how much more do I need to do in order to get the volume of sales I'm looking for?
Sure.
And so that's where paid workshops are a nice quick win for them, because we can create some spaciousness in your sales process specifically, whether you're selling mostly one-to-one stuff, whether you're selling group stuff, whether you're selling a membership, doesn't matter. What we can do is reduce the amount of time you need to spend in the sales process with people, whether it's guiding them on DMs, sitting on sales calls with them, creating really robust sales pages, whatever it is. We can reduce the amount of time you need to spend selling people on your stuff by getting them into a paid workshop where they get a quick win that is related to that bigger offer that you are going to make them. So I just sort of gave a little bit of a meta experience by showing I teach a paid workshop on paid workshops that is a micro win people can get.
Yes.
That, and I even have an offer that's related to that is another baby.
Another kind of like bigger.
Yes, bigger. So I have, in my offer.
Step.
Exactly. I have in my offer ecosystem.
They kind of build on each other.
Exactly.
Right.
Exactly.
Yeah. Let's talk about why like paid workshops are so good. I want to give an example just from my own experience and just as a business owner in 2025. There's a lot going on out there. It is busy, it is noisy. We have a lot of balls in the air. And sometimes, like, we have just a very specific challenge that we need to have solved, and we only have the energy or the mental bandwidth to learn that one specific thing right then.
Yep.
Like we may know, like I may know, yes, I want to scale my business. Yes, I want to improve my back end and my systems. Yes, I want to get better at sales. Yes, I want to do all of these things. But when I think about all of that, I think, oh my God, I can't do all that. But then a paid workshop shows up. How to connect in the DMs. Oh, yes, that's a very specific problem that I have. I'm a very like heart-centered, like natural business owner, and I hate being salesy. So if someone can show me how to connect in the DMs and to set up a DM strategy that's not overwhelming for me, that feels natural, I'm all in.
Yep.
I can take 2 hours of my day to learn that, and then I move on to something else. And maybe maybe I'm interested enough in that person to go deeper with them.
Yep.
Maybe I'm not, but I'm still in their ecosystem.
Exactly. That's exactly the idea. And it's why they work.
Mm-hmm.
It's one of the reasons why they work, because
Let's talk about more.
Yeah, you're
Reasons why they
addressing
work.
because you're exactly right that people are busy. People have so much going on. It doesn't matter who your target audience is, truly, whether you're targeting business owners, moms, high performing professional men. It doesn't matter. Everybody's freaking busy these days. Everybody's got a lot coming at them. So just addressing those kind of top of mind problems, specific problems, specific challenges, specific wins they can get, and calling them into a paid workshop about it. And then you can expose them to, deeper solutions related to that, or, even like I did, where it was like, and here's how we can overhaul the whole thing. Right. That's one of the reasons why they work, because you brought them in through specificity. Specificity is the number one way to sell in 2025. Secondarily, when people pay, they pay attention. So maybe you're thinking to yourself, well, I already do a lot of free trainings, free workshops, free webinars. Time and time again, I've seen with my clients the difference in their conversion rates on the back end when they move to a paid workshop.
Yes.
It just, when people put money down, they show up. So conversion rates for something free, typically going to be like 10 to 20%. Conversion rates show up rates for something free, 10 to 20, maybe 30% if you have like an incredible reminder sequence. For paid, on the absolute lowest end, you might see 50%. Usually it's going to look more like 80 to 90% show up rate.
For paid. Right.
And so they're in the room, they've paid to get a quick win. You give them that quick win, which builds deeper trust. And then you pitch your thing. And the way I teach my clients to do this is it's part of the flow of the workshop. It's not a departure from the workshop. It's not this big buildup like you might see in traditional webinars, where it's success story after success story after success story after success story.
Right.
And then a full breakdown of all things. No, we use the pitch as a teaching tool that actually enhances the overall workshop experience and helps people kind of round out the quick win that they're getting. So because it naturally just flows, and the offer itself is a natural next step, typically what we see on the back end from a conversion rate into a bigger offer standpoint is somewhere between 30 to 50%. On the very, very low end, maybe 25%. But for something free, you're looking at more like 5 to 15%.
Right. Yes, because a lot of people that sign up for free stuff, like you said, one, they don't show up, right? It's like, not in the mood for that today, or something else has come up. And two, you're weeding out the freebie seekers.
Yep.
There's a lot of freebie seekers out there that just want free information, and then they want to go try to DIY it. And when you get someone to pay, you know that they are invested in their business, in their life, in their relationship, in whatever it is that they're paying for. You know, it's something that's important enough for them to put their money towards it.
Yep, exactly. And, nothing wrong with freebie seeking. I think we all went through that stage in our business, or whatever it is you do, where you're just sort of in information gathering stage. Let me experiment with this. Let me see what's up before I really make a leap. I mean, I know I've done things like that when it comes to like, parenting stuff where I've just, gathered some free information here and there before I really decide to make the leap and pay for something. And there's nothing wrong with that, but it is a much, much longer buying cycle for someone to go from free to them wanting to purchase your other offers. It used to work okay, like 2017-ish, 2018-ish, where you could, do a free webinar here and there. You could have the free, PDF guide with an email sequence, and then people would convert. But it just doesn't work quite as well or quite as quickly anymore. And a large part of that is, one, there's buyer skepticism. That's a big thing for my audience specifically, is just so many of them have been burned by things that they've invested in their business. So by inviting them to a paid workshop, they can get to know me, get to know I'm the real deal, they can see my authenticity. They can ask me questions and see I'm not guessing them. So it bypasses a lot of that, which is nice. And then the other thing is just the inundation of information. So if you've got someone who's opting into, a couple of free trainings here and there and the PDF, a lot of those things are probably sitting in their freebie graveyard and just never getting looked at. So you put all this work into creating something that's amazing, but a large percentage of the people who opt in and end up on your list are not even seeing it.
Right. Yeah. I mean, I signed up for an AI summit. And I literally even paid $47 to get like recordings. And this is the other thing that I love about just like a very specific, focused like workshop. I sign up for this training. I pay $47 to have lifetime access. I go in there, I look at it, and I think, oh my God, there's so many trainings in here. I don't have time for this. And I shut it down. I even put it on my calendar. Watch, AI training unlocked. It's a topic I'm super passionate about.
Yeah.
But like trying to get there, but like if I pay for something and I'm available, like I've gotten to the point to where I won't even, if I know I cannot show up live, I'm not even going to pay for it because I know I am not going to go listen to it.
Yeah. I got to say I'm the same way. And while I always offer a recording with my paid workshops, and I do have a lot of people who will engage with the recording, I know myself well enough to know that I'm very similar to you in that regard, where unless I'm there live and you're holding me hostage, I'm probably not watching their recording.
And you know what? I think the other thing I really love about the paid workshops is that there's an energy in a live room that is just, you can't match that with just listening to a recording. One, you can ask questions. There's the energy of the whole group. And I think when you show up live and you pay for something, you get more out of it because you're energetically and emotionally and financially putting more into it.
Right.
And so you, as the business owner that's giving that paid workshop, has a higher like client success rate, right? And higher impact, which is really what we want ultimately anyway.
Yep.
Right.
Absolutely. Yep.
So one of the things that comes up for me, like honest to God, I'm going to be just straight up honest. I have never in my life done a paid workshop. And I have been in business for 9 years. And I'm going to tell you why. I have always been afraid no one will show up.
Show up or sign up?
Both.
Okay.
Both. So let's talk about that because I know, I don't care how seasoned you are, like there is that fear in the back of our minds that no one's going to sign up for this. People aren't going to show up. Probably no one's going to sign up for this. I mean, if you pay, like you said, people will tend to show up.
Yep.
But like, I'm going to put myself out there and people are going to be like, yeah, no, thank you.
Right. Which is anything in business. And here's how we combat that. It's a very real and normal fear when it comes to any, like making any kind of big leap in the business is like, what if this doesn't land with people, right? Whether it's putting out a new offer, testing out a workshop, what if this doesn't land? What if this doesn't get the results? So there's deeper mindset things there for sure, but like releasing some of that perfectionism and all of that good stuff. But if we're talking about just the strategic side of it,
Sure. Mm-hmm.
the way we can combat that is with our workshop topic and how we position it to our audience.
Mm-hmm.
So we want to be thinking really, really clearly about our ideal client and the problems that are top of mind for them right now.
Sure.
And when I say top of mind, I mean, how are they speaking to themselves about the problems in their own head? Not what do you know the solution is? Not how would you define the problem as someone who is the expert at this thing? So
Right.
by addressing the thing that's quote unquote keeping them up at night
Sure.
in the way you talk about your workshop, people can't ignore it. They kind of can't help but feel as though you've made this thing for them and go run to sign up.
And that is if you have, like you said, you know your audience like really deeply, you know what those urgent specific problems are that are keeping them up at night that they're willing to invest in, and when you bring them the solution and you speak to them in their language, like you said, there's just like, oh my god, like I know how I am, like I see something and I go, oh my god, yes, I have to have that. Or I see something and go,
right,
doesn't really move me. Like, not really an issue that I have, not really a problem that I have. Not really interested.
Exactly. Yep. And so it does require some knowledge, some awareness of your ideal client. So if you are on the newer side of things, I typically recommend that people, I still think it's a great strategy that you can use. You may need to do, there's a couple things that can come up if you're in the earlier stages. One of those being you don't really have much of an audience, but people who could benefit from whatever it is you offer, the bigger offer that you have available. So whether it's can think of 3 or 4 or 5 people who are actually in your circle who could benefit, or people who know people who could benefit, who could say, who do you know who, right?
Right.
And then what you can do is you can start to ask those people some questions. You could invite them to hop on a quick, what I like to call survey call with you. You could shoot them a DM and just sort of ask them about the struggles they're experiencing related to that bigger picture transformation that you offer. Like, what's really top of mind for you when you think about, scaling your business, when it comes to when you're thinking about getting a promotion at work, whatever your thing is.
Right.
And just listen for the language, and better yet, if you can get them on a call and ask if you can record it.
Yeah.
And so you start to pick up those nuances to what really they're thinking about, what's really top of mind for them. I had a client recently who she is a career coach for professional women, usually in that like middle management range.
Okay.
And what she realized is that her ideal client really struggles to advocate for themselves in the workplace, kind of like speak up for what they want.
Right.
So that was the route. They acknowledged that, they were aware of that. So she knew her ideal client was spending a lot of time like thinking about, how do I bring this up to my boss? How do I ask for this raise? How do I do this? And then like just would go quiet. And so hosting a workshop that speaks to that, speaking up for yourself and how do you actually do that is the thing, right? So that is what we want to do, is really get at the root of what is the big problem that's top of mind for your ideal clients today. Not what the deeper solution needs to be.
Right.
You already know that. They might not know that, and we can't necessarily fully wake them up to that in a workshop title.
Okay. All right. So let's say that, the person has a pretty good idea, of what they want to talk about. They've got, maybe a decent list that they can market to. What are like some other strategies for actually promoting the workshop and reaching like a wider audience?
So this I like to keep generally fairly simple. I mean, there's a lot of things you could be doing throughout the year where you're kind of building up people to then market to. But if you're just saying, and I've had tons of clients who are like, I want to host a workshop in 2 weeks. I want to host a workshop in a month, whatever. And so like, there's not a ton of time for build up. We kind of got to work with who's around us now.
Sure.
So first thing, if you are like, well, you already kind of gave this caveat that they have a decent list, but let's just say they don't. You can find, and either way, even if you have a decent sized list or decent sized social media following or whatever, it can be beneficial to do this either way, and that is having promotion partners. This can be as formal or as informal as you want it to be. I've done this to where I'll just send out some messages to a few people in my sphere, maybe like 4 or 5 each time I'm going to host a workshop. It's like, hey, I've got this workshop coming up. Love to extend your, an invitation to anyone in your circle who would love to come, and I'm happy to give you a discount code if you want to promote it and share it out. So that's one thing that I do pretty frequently. You can have something that's more formalized where they get, their own link, and then they're getting a percentage of revenue share for whether that's for workshop registrations or back-end sales too. I've done it both ways. And that can work as well. And obviously people have a little more stake in the game.
Sure.
If they know, they're going to get paid quite a bit. So those are 2 ways that if you have a small audience, if you have a big audience, it can be beneficial to really call more of those right fit people into your world if you kind of leverage other people's audiences. But other than that, really simply, most of my clients see a lot of success posting on whatever social media platform that they're most active on. It's not the time to like get started up on a new platform. Like,
right.
Yeah,
Let's do some TikTok videos.
Yeah. You're not gonna I'm sure it could happen, like anything's possible, but it's probably not worth your time and energy to like start up a new.
Exactly.
Yeah. So focus on where you already are hanging out. So for me, that's mostly Instagram. I might post a little bit here and there on LinkedIn. It's not my most favorite place to hang out personally.
Okay.
But I've certainly gotten workshop signups from like repurposing my content over there. And then, and usually I'm looking at about a 2-week promo window. Sometimes I'll go up to 3 weeks. Usually I'm never going shorter than a week.
Okay.
I have had clients go shorter than a week, but they are specifically hosting a workshop that they're going to do direct outreach for. So they're going to like send they've got 15 people in mind who should be at this workshop. They're going to email all of them directly.
And so they're going to send DMs or emails or whatever. Right.
I've had people like in the finance space, for example, who are really regulated on what they can and can't post on social media. So they just like sent direct invites to their workshop and sold it fine. Even the one I'm thinking of in particular is like a $300 workshop, and she sold like a $30K consulting package on the back end, and it still went great. It's just she just put her feelers out to some people who she specifically knew should be there and didn't even bother with the social media of it all. And then your email list, obviously, great one. Great thing to do. I love to repurpose content. So typically when I'm preparing for promotion and my clients inside Sell and Scale with workshops, I give them like, I think is it 8 or 10 email long sequence that's like, here's the type of email I recommend sending. Here's an example of that. So there's templates so they can just fill it in. Same thing with the social media sequence for both feed posts and stories. But, I recommend, if we're looking at a 2-week promo period, the absolute minimum amount of emails I'm going to recommend sending over that period of time is 5. Usually we're creeping up more closer to 12.
12. Wow.
In that time frame.
So almost daily.
Almost daily.
Yeah.
And I tend to, I usually will incorporate an opt out of that promotion link in my emails so that, if someone's not that interested in hearing about that particular workshop topic, they can just say, hey, I don't want to hear any more about this workshop topic, but they're not like totally off my list.
Yeah. That's what I did recently when I did a launch. It was like, okay, let me just put something right up here. If you don't want to get these promotional emails, just opt out and you're still on the list, right?
Yep, exactly. So email, social, direct outreach, promotion partnerships, if it makes sense.
Okay. Let's talk about kind of what we initially kind of promised in when I announced this was like, how do we use paid workshops to test new offer ideas?
Okay, so this is one of my favorite ways to use paid workshops. You host a paid workshop on the topic of your offer.
Okay.
Or a micro component of the topic of your offer.
Right.
To see how it lands, to see how people resonate with it, to see, are people actually paying for this?
Okay.
And then from there, I've had plenty of clients do this where they will actually pre-enroll people into the offer they have in mind from the paid workshop. I did this years ago. I did this for my program, Sell and Scale with Workshops. So when people were asking me about workshops, so for like from like 2021 to 2023-ish. Yeah, 2023. I was exclusively selling this big picture, high ticket, long-term mastermind on the back end of my workshops.
Okay.
I didn't really have like a smaller thing.
I see. Okay.
So people were asking me about paid workshops. I had a lot of clients I was then helping them to do paid workshops. And I was like, I think this is something I could teach. I really enjoy helping people with it. So I hosted a paid workshop, in October of 2023 on paid workshops, but I did not have a program just on paid workshops. So I still sold my mastermind on the back end of it. Because that's what I had. But I did notice, I had a lot of signups, like over 30, I think, for that. And it was quick signups. So I noticed like people were moving for this topic really quickly. And for me, most of my workshops, I'm getting somewhere between 20 to 30. But a lot of times it's like the, last few sales will come in the back end or whatever, like on a little bit. But I noticed with paid workshops specifically, people moved pretty quick and really high show up rate. So there was definitely interest there. And I made some sales of the mastermind itself. But that certainly was indication enough that, okay, people are hungry for this topic. Yes. And maybe I should create a curriculum around it and start selling this more public, like just, kind of the micro solution around paper. So that's an example for my own business. So then that was like October of 2023 that I did a paid workshop on it. And then I think I rolled out the program in late February of 2024.
Okay. Yeah. And did you run the paid workshop again to enroll into that? Okay. Okay. I got it.
Exactly. You got it. And I've tweaked and refined that workshop over the years now to where it's very, very focused on the workshop content. It's like nailing the topic and then outlining the workshop content itself. That's really the focus of the workshop. But then inside Sell and Scale with Workshops, we go deeper into making like your overall paid workshop strategy, like making sure we choose the right offer to sell on the back end, nailing the right topic, setting appropriate enrollment goals and all these kinds of things, timelining it all out, the promotion process of it all. We don't talk a ton about that in my workshop. I have a toolkit that I sell that talks a little bit more about the promotion side of things. But in the workshop itself, we don't talk a ton about the promotion. But Sell and Scale with Workshops, I'm literally like giving you, here's a promotion in a box if you want it, but also let's work out a promotion that's right for you.
Right.
And then the workshop delivery itself, we're going much, much deeper into each of the 5 sections that I teach and like how to really craft that. Whereas in the workshop, we're just kind of doing a high level outline. And then the pitch / follow-up piece of it all. That's kind of,
that's a big one. Yeah.
That's a really big one.
That's a big piece, of like how to pitch. I think I just want to ask kind of like a final question, because I feel like it's something that, I don't know, people kind of get like, I know they get like hung up on it when it comes to offers. And since this is a low ticket offer, any like pricing formulas that you use to like figure like, okay, if it's a 60-minute workshop, I typically price between X and X. If it's a 90, do you have like any kind of formulas that you use?
I don't do like hard and fast rules like that, but I have recommendations. So I say for most audiences, somewhere between 27 to 97 is going to be a good sweet spot. It's enough that people, it's more than a coffee, but if you've got a big family, it's less than takeout potentially. So I know sometimes for just my husband and I, it's like $65 for a DoorDash order. So thinking of what's going to be enough that they remember and that it's like enough skin in the game that they're really going to show up. So for some of my consumer, more like B2C, so I've had clients in like the gardening space, the language learning space, they might go a little bit lower ticket or parents, whatever it is. So maybe in the $12 or $17 range can work. For me and my clients, like you already alluded to this, Lori, where you said you paid $47 for this the summit, and you're like, but I didn't really look at it. So most of my workshops personally are around the $97 mark, and I might do an early bird where it's like, if you get it in the first 48 hours, you can get it for half off or something like that.
Yeah. I just paid 57, an early bird $57 for that DM workshop that I told
Yep.
you about. And it was a 2 hour workshop. One of the things that I liked about that, which was a little different, is there was some networking on the back end of it.
Cool.
So it was like there was like 90 minutes of like workshopping and, education, and then like 30 minutes of just like let's open it up, let's get to know each other, let's
Yep.
like
That's what I
network.
typically do
Yeah,
that as well.
networking a
For the
little bit.
last,
So yeah, so it was a $77 workshop with a $20 early bird
yeah.
special.
So there's no set pricing formula.
Right.
I like for people to have wiggle room to play with it,
Mhm.
but for most audiences, somewhere in that 27 to 97 is going to be
Yeah.
a sweet spot.
Yeah. Awesome. Anything else like that? Maybe I guess we should tell listeners. So obviously, Instagram is your primary platform where
That's
you
right.
hang out, which is at Ask AnnMarie Rose. That's AnnMarie Rose.
Yep.
She's also on LinkedIn. Tell us about the workshop game plan generator.
Yeah. So this is essentially a quiz. So if you've taken
Okay.
quizzes before, it's essentially a quiz. But what I'm doing is asking you very specific questions about your business goals and your preferences and your personality as someone to host a workshop and all that stuff. And then at the end, you'll get a personalized recommended workshop format to host.
Okay.
So there's a few different workshop formats where I said right now I host mostly 2 hour ones. There's
Mhm.
also that kind of deep dive transformational one, high impact transformational intensive style one that's a little bit longer. And then there's even something that I call quick hit, which can be a little bit shorter. So to determine which format is
Okay.
best for you and your goals and what you're working on, you can take that, use the generator. I will give you not only a recommendation of like, hey, here's the format that's right for you. I will explain to you what happens through that format, why it's right for you, and give you a sample agenda of how your workshop could flow.
Okay, cool. Very
And
nice.
as well as recommended promotion and pricing ideas given the format of workshop that you'll be hosting. So it's a very helpful jumping off point.
Yeah, and you can find that, and I'll put this in the show notes, but you can find that at myworkshopgameplan.com, correct?
Yep, exactly. Mm-hmm.
Okay. Any final parting words you want to share with the listeners before we say goodbye?
It has been just a pleasure talking about this. Is one of my favorite topics to chat about. Obviously, I'm always happy. My DMs are always open if you have questions about this, but really, really encourage you, if you've got an offer you want to sell more of, an offer you want to test ideas for, this strategy is so much simpler than a lot of other strategies out there. And just go for it. Like, put a date on the calendar for within the next 60 days that you're going to host a paid workshop. Get started with that game plan and let's do this.
All right. I'm inspired. I'm
Yeah.
inspired. Like you've kind of lit a fire under me. So
Good.
I appreciate everything that you have shared today. It's been just an absolute pleasure talking with you. So
Amazing.
thank
Likewise.
you. All right.